So here is your market update for October 2023. In this video, I'm going to talk about the freight rates right now for the van division, the reefer division, and the flatbed division. I am going to compare the rates today to the rates that were back in 2022. Has the economy gotten better, worse? How much worse has it gotten to? But I will also save to the end of this video, we are going to go over 3 paychecks. Yes, how do these freight rates affect your pays for owner-operators? Now, if you're a company driver thinking of becoming an owner-operator, well, this video is great for you because you'll know what your potential earnings are when working as an owner-operator. So yes, we will take a owner-operator and show you what they make for the month of October based on today's national average. We will go over someone working in the reefer division, and we will go over a pay for the flatbed division and see what they're currently making. So let's get into it. So here are the stats for the month of October. First, we'll start off with the van division. National average right now for the month of October is $2.12. The national average for the flatbed division is $2.53, and the national average for the reefer division is $2.48. Okay, so how do these rates compare to this time last year? So if we're comparing this time last year, so it compares us September 2023, which is last month, not the October. We don't have the stats yet for October, but if you compare September rates 2023 to September rates 2022, and it looks like October is exactly the same rates for the van division, reefer division, and flatbed division. But let's look at what these rates are. Where are they currently in comparison to this time last year? So van spot rates, okay? So dry van is down 13% in comparison to this time last year. Now, if you look at the flatbed division is down. Flatbed spot rates is down also 13%. And then the reefer spot rates is down 11.6%. So in all 3 divisions in comparison to last year, you can see that the freight rates are down about 13-14% in all 3 divisions. Now we're going to go into different regions. So which is the best region to work out of? Okay, so here we have the West Coast. You got your rates at $2.09. You got your Midwest sitting at $2.35, $2.03, $1.97 in the Northeast. Okay, so our fleet primarily runs in the Midwest USA and Southeast USA. So we are hovering around the $2.35 and $2.03 per mile. Now, I truly believe, I say this all the time, I feel like I'm a broken record, but I truly believe that the national average is a lot lower than this when you're counting round trip rates. So not all rates are going to be at $2.35, not all rates are at $2.03. That's the dry vans, and when you break it down into regions. Now let's look at the same thing for the reefer rates. You can see here that the West Coast is at $2.52 per mile. The Midwest USA is $2.87. The Southeast USA is $2.23. And then the Northeast is sitting at $2.27. So this is the reefer rates. And we'll do the exact same thing for the flatbed. And here we have the flatbed rates. So West Coast, $2.28 per mile. The Midwest USA, $2.69 per mile. Then you have the Southeast at $2.59 per mile. And the Northeast at $2.45 per mile. All right, so how are these rates affecting your pay? So let's look at owner operators working for these rates. Let's look at what their bottom line is at the end of the month. All right, so first we're going to start off here with the van division. So $2.12 per mile. I will do this together, $2.12 per mile. So here we have 11,000 miles at $2.12 per mile. Why are we taking $2.12 per mile? Because that's the national average. Why are we taking 11,000 miles? Because that's what long haulers on average, that's what they produce. So a long haul truck driver should be producing about 10,000 miles per month. Yes, we have guys that do a lot more. Yes, we have guys that, have slower months that do 10,000 or 9,500 miles. But I would say as a whole in our fleet, I would say the company's drivers do on average 11,000 miles, and that's the number I'm going to take. So owner operator here, 11,000 miles. Here at ET Transport, take 25% for your dispatching, for the insurance, and for your trailer. I know that in the US, a very popular pay structure is 88-12. So 88% the owner operator keeps, 12% the company keeps, but the owner operator pays for everything. The owner operator pays for the insurance, for the plates, he pays for the trailer. I kind of did a system a little bit different in the US because I think that, there should be some expenses on the company, not just the owner operator. So at 88-12, here we have the deductions, the 25%. You have a driver's pay. So I usually take a pay at 65 cents per mile, and then we multiply that by 11,000 miles. Then you have your fuel fuel, let's just make sure our fuel is right. So if you're driving 11,000 miles, now the national average for fuel is $4.50. So let's make sure that this is correct. So fuel calculated at $4.50. So we have 11,000 miles and we divide that by 7.5 miles per gallon. That's 1,466 gallons. Now, if you multiply that by $4.50, our fuel bill is going to be $6,600. So $6,600, tolls and bridges is $400, accident insurance, and then you have your plates that you pay for. Total deductions is that driver gets to keep $3,038 plus the driver's pay. So if you are driving this truck, then you would get $10,188. If you have a driver driving your truck, that is getting paid 65 cents per mile. So if you do 0.65, multiply that by 11,000 miles, you are 7150. So the owner operator gets to keep $3,000. Now, this is the van division. Let's get into the flatbed division. So the national average for the flatbed division is $2.53 per mile. Now let's edit this entire pay based on $2.53 per mile. So if I edit the formulas over here, $2.53 per mile based on 11,000 miles, the driver's gonna gross out $27,830. Now, 25% is the deduction from the company. Driver's pay. Now, your driver's pay is going to be, you're going to need to, if you find a driver, you need to pay at least 75 cents per mile. Those are the going rates right now in the flatbed division. So flatbed driver's pay is $82.50 per month. Fuel consumption. You are not going to get the same fuel driving flatbeds as you do van reefers. The fuel consumption that I would take is probably around 7 miles per gallon, maybe even 6.5, but 7 miles per gallon would be, I would say, close to the national average. If you take 11,000 miles, divide that by 7 miles per gallon, 1,571 gallons, multiply that by $4.50, which is the national average, we have $7,071 for fuel. Tolls and bridges are the same, accident insurance, registration, everything the same. Now, the owner operator that owns the truck gets to keep $48.50, $48.49.83 to be exact. Now, if you're a driver and this is your truck, then you take away the driver's pay, and then the owner operator gets this plus this, which is $13,099. Don't forget that if you're an owner operator, you most likely have a payment for your truck. So you got to factor that in here. We're not talking about the guys in the lease purchase program. We are talking about owner operators over here that own their own truck and work for a fleet. All right, third thing we're going to go into is the reefer division. Now, the reefer division is a little bit tricky and there are a little bit more expenses over there, but let's get to it. So the national average for reefers, it says, is $2.48 per mile for the month of October. So if we edit these formulas, we'll put $2.48 per mile, 48 cents per mile. Then you have your 25% deduction, driver's pay. Now the driver's pay is most likely going to be 70 cents per mile. You can find drivers that will drive solely in the reefer division. Multiply that by 11,000 miles. Your driver's pay is $7,700. So we will plug that in here, $7,700. All right, now the fuel. Fuel in the reefer division, I will take again, probably, I'll take 6.5 miles per gallon. Now, why 6.5 miles per gallon? Because I feel like with the reefer loads, you're constantly running heavy. You're constantly loaded max 44,000 pounds. Plus the reefer is heavy. Plus, you know, that trailer is a little bit heavier. So I'm going to take 6.5 miles per gallon. So the same 11,000 miles, we'll divide that by 6.5 miles per gallon and multiply that by $4.50. So that's $7,600 in reefer fuel just for the truck. Now you're going to take about $1,000 is what it'll cost you to run reefer loads through the entire month. I just put that on there. I don't know the exact formula, but I would say approximately $1,000. So we're going to take $8,600 as the fuel expense in the reefer division. Okay, $8,600. Now you have the same tolls, same accident, registration, and whatever other fees you have over there. So again, the owner operator for this truck made $3,458. Now, the owner operator that owns a truck and he has a driver in there. Now, if you are the owner operator working in your truck, then you basically get to keep the driver pay and the $3,000. So let's take away the driver's pay. And this one, the driver made $11,158. So there you have it. I mean, if you want to compare to this time last year across the board, we said that 2023 rates got affected. They're about 14% less than last year. So if I was to, I wish I knew the fuel last year. Actually, we do know the fuel last year. All right, so it tells us here that the price of fuel is down 8.6%, which is a great thing, but gross rates would have been higher, about 14%, which is what we said at the beginning. across the board on all three divisions. So let's just take in one scenario now. I'd like to take the van scenario because I feel like 90% of the drivers out there drive dry vans, and then the other ones, you know, maybe 80% is dry vans, and then 10% and 10% for reefer and for flatbed. So let's switch this all back up to our first scenario where it says $2.12. So I will switch up these formulas again. $2.12. Okay, so I switched everything back to the van driver, 11,000 miles, $2.12. Now it says that the rates were 14% higher. So if I take $2.12 and I add 14% on that, that's an extra 29 cents per mile. If I add that together, the national average this time last year was $2.41 per mile. Now, if I switch this all up with the same expenses at $2.41 per mile, why don't you have a look at how much more profitable you would have been if you would be driving this time last year? $2.41 per mile. That is a huge difference, okay? $5,430 is what the driver keeps. The exact same expenses. It says that the fuel is 8.5% cheaper now than it was last year. So let's just edit the fuel and let's add another 10%. 10% of 6,600 is another $660. So 6,600 plus 10% will even give you that. So 7,260 would have been your fuel this time last year. So this would have been your pay this time last year. So this time last year, you would have made $4,770. Now, a lot of my consultations are either owner-operators or company drivers that want to become owner-operators, or owner-operators that want a small fleet, okay? So when is the time to get into it? The time would be probably when these freight rates go up, okay? So if you were this time last year and you were making this much money, it all depends on your appetite for money, right? So is $47.70 enough for you? I mean, are the rates right now enough for you? The rates are $2.12 per mile. So if you run these formulas and $2.12 per mile is, you know, profitable for you, then, you know, who knows? Maybe now is the time for you to do it. If you think you need a little bit more in order to survive, you got to watch my video on break-even points, because that will teach you how to calculate as an owner-operator running his own fleet break-even points. And if you want to open up your own authorities, great. I've created a whole series just on how I opened up our trucking company in the US, and I talk about break-even points, and I talk about rates, and I talk about how I did it and who I used. So make sure you watch that series if you're interested. Now, if you want to go the extra mile and you need that consultation with me, that's 1/3 of my day. This is what I do. I consult people on how to open up their own trucking companies. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions, put the comments down below. I'm very responsive to them. I'm Ronen, and I'll catch you in my next video.